I love you guys. Big Pepe for keeping me strong, and Jordan, and so many. I'm forgetting everyone. Thank you to the Rat Pack. Thank you for making me a better person. And I just want to say I'm really happy that I'm not. I don't give a shit. And that I can go fish and shoot guns and wipe my son's ass and fuck my wife and have more kids. Thank you to No ID. Thank you to Noah Preston, everyone at Def Jam. And honestly, the most fucking number one is 6. And Lenny. You know, and 6, thank you for always believing in me and trusting me and giving me your best shit, because fuck everyone else. I want to thank Kendrick, because he doesn't know how much he was there for me, and Cole, and Drake, fucking ASAP, and Ferg, and Mac DeMarco, man, and fucking Toro y Moi. It was such a dream for him to be on this album and record, and there's too many people, man. I thank you all. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I bid you farewell. And as always, I'm obediently yours. I won't be on the internet for the first time in my career because it hurts me. And every time I released an album, I just wanted to be loved. And this time I don't check the internet because I finally love myself. So, thank you so much. And as always, peace, love, and positivity. I love you. I appreciate you. And I'll see you in other endeavors. I am off to be a good father. Thank you.
What's going on, guys? CTR. Before I had put this video on, I had a script. I had a couple of notes that I was gonna, I knew what I was gonna say basically when I was going into this video. And then I went online just to see, if I missed any stats. I wanted to see how the album was doing. I mean, it's Sunday and it came out on Friday. I wanted to see, the initial sales, which, by the way, it looks pretty good. The projections are, I think it looked like there was going to be 71 to 85,000 copies in the first week sold, which is really impressive. Yeah, I had all the stats, I had all the notes, and then I saw that video. I knew Logic said he was retiring after he released this album, but I didn't know he put that video out on his stream. And then I watched that stream, and it was just like, wow, like, just pouring his heart out. I mean, you've just watched it yourself. Like, he was thanking all the people that had been there for him throughout his career, all the shit that he's had to go through. But the main thing I took away from that was he's finally happy with himself, and he's coming off the internet. And Logic has dealt with a lot of shit. I mean, we'll talk about it during this little album review that we're going to do. I say album review, it's more of an initial reaction, because I've just listened to it 3 times in a row. I mean, that sounds like a lot because it's it's literally 5 seconds short of an hour. I know it's, you think 3 times in a row, like that's a lot. It is a lot. But honestly, I enjoyed this album so much that I didn't mind going back to track 1 and clicking, start again. So many songs on this album that I really want to talk about. I want to talk about Aquarius. I want to talk about even the outro, Amen. Really good. The intro, which isn't really an intro, it's a song in itself. And then you've got Snake from Metal Gear Solid, saying to Logic, I've heard you got a new album coming out, it'll take over the world, it's not going to work. You know that Logic is a big nerd. He's into his games, he's into his anime, which is amazing because he features it in his songs as well. There's loads of little facts that goes through this song, and then all the way through the rest of the album, you've got this woman at the start and at the end of some songs giving you some facts about this song, one that really stuck out for me, and I really agree with, was apparently Logic's production is really influenced by the likes of MF Doom, RZA from Wu-Tang Clan, and Kanye West, which you can really hear, especially with No ID. And by the way, No ID, the guy who did the beats for this tune, which is another fact, by the way. Apparently, they reunited after 6 years, which is fantastic. I mean, I'm not just saying he's the only one who worked on the album. As I say, like, you look at what Logic just said in that video, and there was so much more input from Def Jam and from Juicy J. Juicy J made a couple of I won't say features, because there is no features on this album. It's more of just like a bit of like speaking. You heard Toro. Toro had a little bit of a voice feature on this album, which is like a dream come true for him, as Logic said. If we're talking number one hits, and like we're talking hits that comes off this album, I'm gonna say Celebration, and Celebration. I can definitely hear that on the radio 100%. My favorite song, it's literally, as I say, I threw away all my script. I threw away all my script and I threw away all my stats, apart from, because I feel like it's better if you just say it off the top of your head, especially after I watched that video. My favorite song on it is maybe Aquarius 3. That's really good. Or Soul Food. That's really good as well. There's a song at the end of the album. It's called like Hear Me or something. Jesus Christ, I've totally forgot about it. If I remember it, I'll put it on the channel again a little bit later. But it's really hard to judge this album just off on a song to song basis, because it really takes you on a journey. It feels like one whole story. I mean, it really reminds me of the Marshall Mathers LP and a bit of the Eminem Show. As Logic does remind me of Eminem anyway. But the style of this album is so close to like the Marshall Mathers. It's unreal. I'm not talking about the violence of it. I'm talking about the story that Eminem tells in his songs. I mean, there's even a feature at the end of the album with Logic talking to his son, saying, do you want to learn your LBCs? Well done, Reese. Your ABCs, because that's how the alphabet works. But yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, ABCs. Which is like, really reminds me of Haley, when Haley featured on Eminem's old songs. The beats, it really reminds me of, because there's a lot of samples from different songs. There's a lot of samples, just in general, like from the start to the end. It really changes up, where it's like it turns into like modern times, but it really sticks to its like sort of heritage of like where I feel Logic and No ID was going with this album. Really reminds me of like 80s like music, where it, like when hip hop was so young, it had to sample beats from other genres, which it's really nice to hear. It's really really refreshing to hear in this era of music. I'm really gonna miss Logic, and I do want to talk about a little bit about Logic in general. Logic gets a lot of hate, and he's got it all the way through his career, and I really don't understand it, to be quite honest with you. Lyrically, he's definitely in the top 3 of this generation, like 100%. I mean, like you talk about Eminem, I mean, he's still around, but if you want to talk about this generation, you got to think of your Kendricks, your Coles, and then your Logics. I mean, you got them three, and then maybe Joyner, and then there's a few underground rappers, a few like lesser known rappers. I don't want to get into on this video. That give them a run for the money as well. But Logic is definitely upper echelon god tier, and he gets a lot of criticism. And he talks about this in his album. Dark Place is a really good song, and he really just opens up about all the hate that he gets on the internet, all the criticism, all the backlash that he gets. And in the video, he talks about how he's finally making music that he likes and he doesn't care. That's why he's coming off the internet. But as I say, this is just a brief initial reaction / review of the album. I've just listened to it 3 times in a row, so 3 hours, pretty much 3 hours. Let's say 15 seconds shy of 3 hours, because the album's like 59 minutes and 55 seconds or something like that. But moving on. this might be a high appraisal for an album of this generation, which sounds weird saying even in my head, because like that makes me sound like an old head. I'm definitely not an old head. I listen to all types of music. I'm going to give this album a 9. And if any of you keep track of this, if any of you guys have listened, you know, from the very start, we've done a couple of album reviews. You know, we've reviewed H's albums, Black Eyed Peas. We've done a bit of Skepta. Obviously, we do the intro, which we haven't done in a while. I really want to get back to long ass reviews of albums. I just haven't found the time to do it. But No Pressure for me is getting a 9. It's everything you want a hip hop album to be. It's everything you want an album from Logic to be. As I say, like, he said he's retiring. Do I think he'll come back? Of course. A guy that tier, retiring at 30 years old, yeah, it's honestly tragic, but I don't think he'll be gone forever. Here's hoping he won't be gone forever. Hopefully, you know, someone can tempt him and you know, get him out after he's had a couple more kids, after, you know, he's lived a life off the internet. A bit like like an Ed Sheeran, like he's off the internet now, so he doesn't have to deal with the criticism. So fair enough to Logic. I'm gonna give it a 9. And to be honest, only albums that have been around longer than that get higher than that, just because, you know, of how it ages well. I mean, you get some albums that age really well and become more enjoyable the longer it's out. Logic might go higher than that. I mean, I might come back to this album in a few years and say, you know, it might even get a 9.5. I really enjoyed this album. It was so good. I would definitely recommend you to go and listen to this as soon as possible. Go support Logic. For anyone who wants to give him hate on the internet, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but he's not going to see it because he's come off the internet. I mean, why would you? If you're not a fan of Logic, I understand that, but as a hip-hop lover and a music lover in general, I don't know how anyone can give this album any hate. It's, as I say, it's everything you want out of a hip hop album. It's got nice little introductions. The music's amazing. I mean, what else can you say about an album, really? But other than that, I would definitely say, as I say, Celebration is probably one of the best songs on there, and I definitely could see it in the chart. I don't really want to spoil it too much for you guys, as like, you know, this is a combination of an initial reaction and a review. Defo go give it a listen once again. I know I'm repeating myself, but and I know like my voice doesn't sound like I'm excited about this album, but like that video really made me sad to see a living legend, like to see someone who is in his prime, especially looking at this album, like someone who is in his prime, to hang it up so young. Here's hoping he doesn't stay retired forever. But that's going to wrap it up, guys. As I said, I don't want to drone on too long. Go and listen to this album. I've given it a 9. So on the CTR chart top thing that we do for albums, I don't know. We haven't got a name for it. But it's going to get a 9. That's all I'm going to say right now. But as far as it goes, I'm going to leave you on this one little fact. This album was recorded in a week. And it was recorded in a space of 4 separate studio sessions. I believe that's what they said, which is really impressive. And then there was a year spent just editing it and making sure it was perfect to be released. I'm gonna leave you on that. But guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm going to have a couple more videos coming out next week, probably. Going to get back to the podcast. Maybe do an intro, maybe not. I don't know. Let's see. But for now, guys, peace.